The group text came through on a crisp October afternoon, the kind where the Montana air already carried the promise of early snow. Family gala at the estate this Saturday. Formal attire. Press will be present. Don't be late. No personal note from my sister Victoria. No, hey Elena. Can you bring those extra chairs like old times? Just a smiling emoji and her name at the bottom. I stared at the screen from the front seat of my beat-up truck, parked outside the hardware store where I worked part-time restoring furniture. 10 minutes away from the family property. Yet somehow I was an afterthought. I should have known right then that something had shifted permanently. For years after Dad passed, Victoria had leaned on me for the small things, the setup, the cleanup, the quiet labor no one noticed. But now it was all polished announcements, red carpets, and curated smiles for the cameras. I showed up anyway, wearing my best black dress that still fit after months of stress eating, my winter boots scuffed with road salt. The estate driveway was lined with staff carrying silver trays, photographers adjusting lights under the massive chandelier in the foyer. Inside, the air smelled of expensive candles and polished oak, nothing like the wood smoke and coffee that used to fill the house when Dad was alive. I moved through clusters of relatives in sleek suits and cocktail dresses, most avoiding eye contact. A server offered champagne with a polite but distant smile. In the main hall stood the golden plaque honoring the future of the Harper legacy. My stomach twisted. Not our family anymore, theirs. Victoria stood at the center in emerald silk, radiant as she nodded to a reporter scribbling notes. She spotted me, raised her glass in the barest acknowledgement, then turned away. I drifted toward the buffet, only to be stopped by a cousin I hadn't seen since the funeral. Elena, could you step aside? Lighting crew needs the frame clear for the group shot. I blinked. I'm family. I should be in it. He cut me off. They're on a tight deadline. I stepped back, disbelief rising like bile. The family gathered beneath the chandelier, Mom, Victoria, cousins, uncles, even the old pastor who'd once called me too headstrong. The photographer framed the perfect image without me. As they dispersed, Victoria sauntered over with a half smile. At least you're not dragging the vibe down. The words landed like a slap. I heard Dad's voice in my head, clear as the day he said it. The richest people make others feel seen. Later, at the banquet table draped in linens worth more than my rent, name cards sat at every seat except mine. I scanned twice. Nothing. My young niece looked up and asked, Auntie Elena, why don't you have a seat? Victoria laughed from down the table. She's freelance. She floats around. A cousin awkwardly offered a spare chair edge. I couldn't sit among people who had watched me disappear without a word. I ended up standing near the drinks, holding a plate of rolls and salad, overhearing whispers. Awkward, she even showed. Still in that trailer. Right? Dessert came, and I slipped out to the back porch. The cold bit through my sleeves as I stared at the old firewood shed Dad and I used to repaint every summer. Legacy isn't money, he'd say. It's what you care for when no one's watching. After he died, no one mowed the fences or cleaned the gutters. That was always me. I stayed with him through his final hospital nights while Victoria visited twice. Once with a camera crew. I whispered to the dark, money doesn't change people. It just reveals who they were. On my way out, I grabbed an event program. My name appeared at the bottom under assistant staff, crossed out in thick black ink. I folded it into my pocket and drove home through fog-shrouded roads. Posts from the gala flooded my feed. The cropped group photo showed just a sliver of my shoulder before it was edited away. That night, the silence in my trailer scraped at my chest. When your absence speaks louder than your presence, you've been erased. The next morning brought my niece's birthday brunch. I'd spent weeks on a hand-painted jewelry box, floral details carved with care. At the party, balloons and laughter filled the air. My niece squealed, holding up the box. "Thank you, Aunt Victoria." The card inside read "Love from Aunt Victoria" in her perfect script. I smiled for the child but pulled Victoria aside later. "You put your name on my gift." She sipped her mimosa. "You aren't great with presentation." "Elena." I polished it. Her whisper followed. "Everything is perception." 2 days later, an urgent email summoned me to a family trust meeting at a sterile law office. Victoria sat sipping from a tumbler. The young attorney slid papers forward. "Just initial here for clean distribution." I spotted "release of claim" buried in the text. What am I actually signing? Victoria smiled. Dad wouldn't want tangles. I didn't touch the pen. I requested a copy and left. In the library under flickering lights, I read every word. It stripped me of estate claims, land, trust access, a forfeiture, not clarification. I called my old friend Allison, a lawyer I hadn't spoken to in years. I might need eyes on this. That night, I printed copies and started a notebook, records they thought I'd ignore. Digging through Dad's old papers, I found the note in his handwriting. "If they try to erase you, find the blue folder." Memories flooded back in the dim kitchen light. Dad in the hospital. Frail but firm. "They won't understand you, Elena. But they'll need you more than they admit. You're the only one who doesn't want anything from me. That's why you deserve everything." His peace became my anchor as betrayal circled. Sunday brought another group text. Brunch at the lodge. Unity matters. I arrived early, dressed simply. The table stretched long with white linens and flowers. Victoria stood at the head, raising her glass. Families thrive on order and knowing roles. Some people force their way in like sewer trash. The room went silent. A fork clattered. I stood slowly, gathered my coat, and walked out without a word. The cold air welcomed me. At home, I left the family chat, deleted contacts of those who stayed silent. I texted Allison. "I'm ready." I studied the papers, highlighted loopholes. Dad's safe clicked open with the combination he gave me. Inside, the cream envelope, for her eyes only. I didn't open it yet. Reverence held me back. Snow drifted sideways when I returned to the estate. I entered through the kitchen. Victoria and Mom waited. I held up the document. "Explain why this removes me from everything." Victoria snapped. "This house isn't yours anymore. Loyalty doesn't make you a stakeholder." Mom added. "You've always been unstable." "Es tu taller." I held Dad's hand when he died. That's truth, too. The wind howled as I left. My truck wouldn't start. I wrapped in Dad's emergency blanket, dozing through the storm, hearing their voices and his warnings. Dawn brought white blankets of snow. The diner waitress poured black coffee without question. Victoria's social post glowed on my phone, cozy family photos inside the house I'd just been locked out of. I messaged Allison. "Meet today. Bring everything." Her cabin office felt real. She read the documents. "Elena, this changes everything. You're central 42% of the estate. Sole authority over the preservation trust." The blue folder was the blueprint. We reviewed clauses for hours. I left with copies and stopped at the shelter to donate coats. The volunteer looked at me. "You deserve better than what they gave you." That night, I played Dad's cassette. "If you're hearing this, I didn't misjudge you. You wouldn't trade integrity for approval." His words fueled focus, not grief. Emails and calls flooded in. Victoria. Mom. Cousins. I let them buzz. A local news post hinted at contested assets. They were panicking. The second envelope held a letter and another tape. If Victoria challenges this, she forfeits everything. You're the firewall. His voice on the tape, protecting the one who won't trade blood for greed. I pinned documents to my corkboard, timestamps, messages, forged papers. Allison filed the motion. Notices went out. A restricted call came. MS. Harper. We'd like private resolution. I replied calmly. Let them come. I've been invisible too long. They arrived at Allison's, Victoria and Mom, polished and hovering. We're not here to fight, Victoria said, sliding a new form. Just clarification. I read it, then slid it back. You threw me out because you feared what I knew. Victoria's smile twitched. You were never part of the plan. They left carefully. No slam. Security footage from my reactivated system captured them whispering. If she signs, we're clean. She's a loose end, not family. I saved it. Sent to Allison. Exhibit A. We filed injunctions citing coercion. I sat in the diner again, watching snow angels. Precise now, not angry. They were data points. Victoria called. You think you've won? You don't know what you're inside of. I smiled. You're inside a case now. The tribute dinner invitation came formally from the attorney. I went in black. USB in pocket. Victoria hosted flawlessly. Booklets erased my role. Then the edited video of Dad played. I stood. May I play the full version? The uncut tape hit. If you've treated Elena with less than dignity, you don't deserve a dime. She stayed. She gave without asking. Gasps filled the room. I left. At home. I uploaded the kitchen video clip with the will scan and snowstorm timestamp. Caption. This is how legacy is built. By morning, sewer trash no more trended. News segments ran. Victoria posted a vague apology, comments disabled fast. I reclaimed the estate with the deed. Sheriff present. Cleared Victoria's designer chaos. Placed Dad's armchair by the window. The wine cellar became a reading room. Media room a counseling space. Opening day brought reporters. Volunteers. Mothers with toddlers. The brass plaque read, House of the Forgotten, for those told they didn't belong. Below, sewer trash no more. Victoria went live. Claiming context and regret. Comments flooded. I didn't respond. In the reading room, I framed Dad's photo on the mantel. Legacy is what you restore when no one thinks you can. They filed to challenge Dad's capacity. In court, Allison presented the supplemental clause. Challengers forfeit everything. Dad's verified audio and medical records sealed it. They disqualified themselves. Outside, a reporter asked if I felt vindicated. Integrity won. If you feel erased, write yourself back in. The shelter hosted gratitude dinners, lasagna, jazz, real laughter. I unveiled the mural of a tree growing from cracked concrete. Dad's quote, character outlives wealth. I gave a young mother the cottage key. Start fresh. A handwritten letter from Victoria arrived. I thought I was protecting the family. I filed it away in closed chapters. The shelter thrived volunteers. Fixed roofs. Scholarship help. A woman with 2 kids arrived. I saw your story. If you made it. I handed her the key. One Sunday, I drove to the cemetery. Placed Victoria's letter under a stone at Dad's grave. Let her words rest where your truths lived. At the lookout point, I played his message. Now you're the mirror they won't look into. The final ruling came. I sat in my room. Court papers beside Dad's envelope. A mysterious photo arrived, young me and Dad at the barn. Note, he was always proud. Peace settled. The shelter became home for the discarded. I never needed to rebuild my name. I stopped letting others sign it. Dad's words echoed. The legacy isn't what we leave. It's what we prove can't be taken. In the quiet amber sunset, I felt still. What would you do if your blood erased you? Fight for the table. Or build your own? The mirror had shattered. But I stood whole on the other side.